Hello, my name's Kevin.
My name is David.
My name's Stefan.
And I'm Sar.
And we're going to talk about childhood obesity. To open up with, we're going to talk about our country's childhood obesity compared to other countries. Sar?
Alright, so in 2014, US topped the world rankings in obesity, but recently, 2015, according to research, Mexico took over, surprisingly, and US is not the fattest country in the world anymore, believe it or not. There's countries, according to the CIA, fact book, the fattest country in the world is American Samoa, and there's many other places, and United States is 18th on their rankings. And
Okay.
But New York Times, The Guardian, they all show that US is in the top 10. But according to the CIA fact book, United States is 18th. Mexico is 23rd. And
Does it say what number one is?
number one is American Samoa.
Oh, American Samoa.
Yeah.
Oh,
What is America Samoa?
yeah, what is that?
But then all of these, this information is like 7 years old.
Okay.
Oh, so things change.
Oh, yeah. A
So-
lot of new regulations have been put in
Yeah.
place and
So it's kind of messed up.
dietary.
Well, I think first we should kind of define what obesity is and go around there. So, by definition, obesity is excess amount of body fat, and we use BMI to calculate it. And if you have plus 30 BMI, then you're considered obese for adults. And then for children, they do it by percentile because it's kind of weird because you're growing.
Yeah.
And this factors in height,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it factors in height.
The other thing wrong with BMI though is that sometimes if you're like a bigger guy and actually have like a lot of muscle, your BMI will change also.
Yeah.
So that also categorizes you as obese.
Okay. And for childhood obesity, it's mostly kids that aren't really like muscular bound. It's just, I mean, I guess it's mostly fat and like I guess genetic largeness, but
Yeah.
so
And then the reason this kind of matters is that those who are obese can suffer many health issues. You got type 2 diabetes, heart disease, strokes, high blood pressure, liver disease, and then you have all the psychosocial issues like low self-esteem you get made fun of.
and there's 16.9% of our nation's children aged 2 to 19 that suffer from obesity, and this is about 12.5 million children. So it's a large number.
Yeah, since 1980, obesity trends have more than doubled among kids from 2 to 5. It's tripled from 6.5% to 17% among 6 to 11-year-olds, and then more than tripled from ages like 12 to 19 from 5 to 17.6%. So it's like it keeps going up.
And for adults, we have 1/3 of every U.S. adult is obese by definition.
Yeah, which is a total of about 73 million adults, and that'd be categorized as people over the age of 20. So
Yeah, and if you're obese as a child, you're also more likely to stay obese as an adult and like continue through that trend if you don't change your habits and everything.
yeah,
I guess it could be genetic in certain scenarios as well.
actually 87% of obese children end up being obese in their adult years as well. So that's a very high number.
Yeah. And then there are certain things you can't really help, like diabetes 1.
Yeah,
because that's
Yeah.
genetic.
There's
But
some-
like you still develop diabetes type 2. Like if you're obese and just keep with everything.
Yeah. So I guess the big question is, what are we doing to help our nation become less obese? And looking into the school systems, that's one of the major influences on how we like mold our children in this country is the school systems, and it's our responsibility to make sure that their diets are good and that they have educational programs So, like in elementary school, middle school, and high school, a lot of children are required to take PE classes and health awareness classes where they can learn like healthy food, like what's okay to eat, what's not okay to eat, because parents don't always teach their kids proper habits about eating and exercising. So.
Yeah, but certain things with the schools, sometimes that's the only physical activity they get.
Yeah.
Because like they don't have the opportunities, like, or money for some circumstances to actually get involved in outside programs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I know certain schools don't even have a PE program.
Yeah.
They cut them.
Yeah, I was looking into this and I saw that there is no universal rule or law for children taking health classes and PE classes. Some states are very strict and they tell like each school like that they must have these amount of credits for like each child and like what grade to take these classes in. And in some states like Texas, they leave it up to the individual schools to like decide for themselves what classes the kids have to take.
Yeah, so like those schools just want more money. So if they have to cut something, they're gonna cut PE because
Yeah, exactly. So
it's more beneficial to them.
So what do we think that the schools could do better? Making a more universal rule throughout the entire country, or
I think that would be a start.
yeah.
It's kind of hard to infringe on like your state rights to like set how your schools are run. That's one of the issues.
But the one power that can actually change those states' rights is the government, I guess. So they can.
I mean, it doesn't even have to be like that big of a change. Also, just like you have to have a PE program at your school. That alone will make some change, even though certain kids still won't do anything outside of school, but they'll still have the physical activity in school.
Yeah.
One of the issues I find is that like when you think of like a school, you don't really think of those like ghetto, lesser end schools. But like for those schools, I think that's where a lot of obesity comes from. And those are the schools that can't like afford to own a gym. They can't afford anything to hold their PE activities in, and I think that's like one of the reasons why they cut PE. There's not much we can really do about schools like that.
Yeah.
So basically, a lack of money causes them problems which they cannot afford. Like, so what can we do? Like, is the government responsible for that? What can the schools do to improve on that?
I guess using tax money to have more programs for that. I was looking into the demographics of children with obesity, and African Americans have 20.2% of their children obese, and that's age 2 to 19, and Latino is 22.4%, and then it's just 14.3% of white children. So the less privileged children really are becoming more obese, just because there's options like fast food, which is less expensive food.
It's quicker, easier. People don't want to.
Yeah, that's a huge issue in our country is the fast food industry.
Yeah, they market like these healthy alternatives when actually they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And as for like tax money, I think like changing school regulations is kind of a dead end because like you can't really tell the schools what to spend their money on.
Yeah.
You just kind of give them money.
That's true.
But if we're like personally, I don't really think you have to like work out or do any physical activity to like be relatively not overweight. Like I don't really do any.
You don't have to do much.
Yeah, I don't do any physical activity. Like,
Well, that's
but I'm kind of biased because I have like the genes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's some. Yeah, I think that a major portion of it is just a healthy diet. Like that's a lot of it. Like a lot of other countries, I've been abroad. I've been to Russia and I've been to London, and just walking around, I've seen that a lot of less people actually exercise. They just eat a lot less sodium and fat in their diet, and they're they look a lot healthier than we are.
Yeah.
They also don't have like fast food places on every single corner.
Yeah,
which
I mean they have the option, but it's
they
just
have the
not
option, but they're
it's
just
not
like
everywhere.
it's move away from it. It's
Yeah.
also the culture.
Yeah.
If you've ever been to like an international Pizza Hut, it's actually like
It's so much
luxurious. Yeah.
So much better.
Like it's
Yeah.
they're a high quality restaurant.
So much better.
I researched food and like the daily average recommended intake for food is like 2,000 calories and 20 grams of fat. So I kind of researched the fast foods. I went on their websites to see how much fat and calories they have. You have Big Mac, which is actually only 540 calories, but it has 29 grams of fat in one Big Mac. And then medium fries is like 380 calories with 19 grams of fat.
And there's sodium.
Yeah. And then you have Whoppers, 670 calories, 40 grams of fat. You have Wendy's Baconator, yeah. You have 880, 52. Frosties, 540, 8 grams of fat. Taco Bell, 770 with 24 grams of fat. And I got Chipotle, which is like your standard Chipotle steak burrito, black beans, brown rice, sour cream, nothing else. You get 835 calories with 33 grams of fat, which is like considered healthy food for a lot of people.
And the thing is, for children, most of it is their parents buying them food. So what do you think about awareness programs for parents? Because I know a lot of parents don't really understand like how to raise a child and having like instill them with like healthy values. So what do you think a solution for this would be?
I think we could like fast food restaurants are already required to have their calories up, but I don't think they have.
They don't have to have it like in the store, but they have to have it like on their website.
Oh, is
stuff.
it?
Like,
okay.
well, if you ask at a restaurant, they'll give it to you, but they don't have it right out in the open anymore. At least some places do have it right on the wall right before you like order.
Well, then I feel like that could be mandatory. Like you have to have
it displayed,
like calories and fat, at least on your menu.
Yeah, like some people, like fast food restaurants, if you look on the menu, it has it like really small underneath what you're trying to order, and it'll have like the values of it. But unless you want to see the other nutritional facts, you have to ask for it, and they'll give you like a pamphlet or something.
Like in Sabaro, I worked there, so on the menu, like which is split up, they've got calories for each and everything. But in Burger King, they do not have any calories mentioned, and like if you go to ask them, they'll provide you a handbook, which you have to look into yourself and then like find how much fat, how much calories every meal provides. So it's very different from company to company.
Yeah, and I feel like something that's really important is to like have the info on advertisements and signs and like commercials, because like once you're in the restaurant, it's like might as well get something.
Yeah, you're already there.
Yeah.
You're not gonna like turn around just because of the calories.
Yeah.
My viewpoint is that since these are children that we're talking about childhood obesity, it's their parents that are allowing this, and we can't really do much about that. We can't really like tell their parents, don't let them eat McDonald's, stuff like that. What we do have control over is their lunch diets, though. So the USDA has set a lot of regulations about different like facets of lunch food that makes them nutritionally balanced and low cost for children. And every day, about 31 million children eat school lunch. So that's a huge amount of our population that's like taking part of our school lunches. And a lot of the regulations that have been set are, there's been like a set calorie limit for age appropriate meals. So like kindergarten through 5th grade will have a certain amount of set calorie limit, and then 6th to 8th grade, and then 9th to 12th grade. So they have different limits about calorie intake. And then there's a lot of different other components that go into it. They have a huge ledger of things that they've made like requirements for school lunches, like for example offering fruits and vegetables as 2 separate meal components, offering whole grains, and having 0 grams of trans fat in their food portions.
I know they did this, like started doing this at my high school, like right when I was a senior. Like they started having more healthier options, because like when I was like a freshman and everything, I know for a fact that food was greasy like ever. And like they actually started changing like how they would prepare it and everything.
From my experience, it was around like 1st or 2nd grade where I really started seeing like, or maybe even 3rd or 4th grade, that I started seeing like a change in how like the food
It was very like slow and gradual process, because you can't just kind of like drop it on kids.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah, I remember in my high school, like, ours wasn't really that greasy, but it was kind of crappy. But like, they made it all the portions kind of smaller throughout the years.
Yeah, they did that at mine as well.
Yeah.
Could you guys go to like a snack bar and buy as much snacks as you wanted to?
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah, because we had that same thing. So kids would just buy a lot of cookies and like whatever with their
Candy.
parents' meal. Their parents like the money that their parents loaded onto their card. So I've seen like some obese kids just buy like six cookies and like a lot of like I don't know, just snacks and chips and stuff like that. We didn't have soda, but we had like juice that you could buy. And
I would honestly say that like as much as people think it's more the candy, I think it's more soda. Like certain
soda's
times, because like
large.
I know kids like when I was a kid, I used to down like cans of soda. Like it was my job. And, like that actually attributes more when you think about it than actually eating the stuff. Because people like have a Coke and then just keep drinking it. Like just keep drinking them, and that has a lot more sugar than what a meal would actually be.
well, soda's just all negative. I don't really see an upside to soda. I rarely drink soda just because
I
it's
rarely
not,
drink
it's
it
not
anymore.
healthy for you. Even the diet sodas aren't very healthy for you.
Yeah, you're losing certain things, but you're gaining others when you try to do like a 0 calorie or stuff like that.
If you think about it, the zero, like Coke sells two kinds of diet sodas, right? There's one diet soda and there's no calories, Coke Zero, right? But both of them do have sugar. Like diet, even though it says no calories, but it has some sugar in it. They just because I've seen their advertisement. It says Diet Coke is no calories and Coke Zero is 0 calories. So it's not the same thing. So it cannot. It has to be. There has to be some sort of difference in it.
Yeah.
And people just don't actually pay attention to what they're buying, and they just keep on.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the end, it's like nutritionally, it's like the sugar that turns into fat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And once you pass this stage, the body does not break down sugar that easily. Once you get past a certain limit, like once you grow, once you increase your weight by a certain limit, like your body cannot break down your sugar into energy, and which is why
It just turns
fat
to
just
fat.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Since we've talked about all these dynamics, do you just want to list out the causes of obesity? So we have family habits, right? Like what your family is gonna like have in the cabinets for food and what they're gonna serve at dinner and bring out the fast food. And then there's food choices, like going out to get fast food. Apparently, what I researched was that there's like one of the causes of obesity recently is children's fixation with video games and TV compared to the past, because people used to just always be outside playing, and now to have fun, kids sit inside and don't really do anything
That's
active.
definitely a huge contributor to the problem.
Yeah.
I know if I didn't go to the gym, I would most likely be sitting in front of a TV and playing video games personally. So
Yeah.
I sit in front of the TV playing video games.
Mm-hmm.
do that all the time.
And ways to incentivize kids, I guess, is we need to have more school programs to teach kids that being outside is fun. And
I mean, like
have more
major like
activities.
sports leagues, like NFL started doing the Play 60 too. Like they're trying to encourage people like just go out for like 60 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Do something. Like it's a lot easier than people think.
Oh yeah.
Like you don't need that much physical activity to like really stay in shape. Well, not so much in shape, but not be obese.
Yeah. And the thing is, a lot of kids, they're the most impressionable when they're in like kindergarten or
when they're really young.
like elementary school. So that's when you want to like nip them in the bud. You want to like teach them like going outside is fun. Like go outside, like have recess, like stuff like that. Because I remember I used to love recess, and you just want to keep that with them, like and like give them that opportunity to go outside and play.
I know, like I've had friends, like I used to play video games all the time, like elementary school, high school. I had like one friend that his parents wouldn't let him play for more than like 2 hours a day. Other than that, and the kid is completely like he's not obese in any way, but like the one kids that had like no limits, who just sit in front of the TV all day, actually started getting more and more obese as time like went on.
Oh yeah.
And like their habits just kept getting worse and worse. Like realizing they don't have to do as much and just kind of like letting go.
Yeah, my parents actually didn't even let me watch TV or play video games during the school week. So.
Yeah, my parents did that, but I kind of sneaked away and would do that.
Yeah, of course.
And one of the things I like really like about American culture is the whole like spring fever. When it's like springtime, everyone wants to go outside. I think that's pretty underrated for childhood obesity.
I agree.
So before we were talking about soda, and then we kind of talked about like impressionable children. So I researched food stamps, right? Because there's like a correlation that if your income's lower, you're fatter. So some of the facts I have, this is like 2012 material. We have 47 million of the American population in food stamps. This is 15%. And the eligibility is if you're under 31K per year for a family of 4 in gross income, then you're eligible for it. And then it goes down to like 25K if you're in a family of 3. You're allowed to be eligible for food stamps. And food stamps allow like breads, fruit, vegetables, meat, dairy, like seeds you can do, and they also allow beverages, and like it sounds like essentials, but one of the things is that like soda is considered something that you can get with food stamps, and so is junk food.
Yeah, we need to cut that out, I guess.
Yeah, and I read an article with like Stanford arguing with like the beverage industry, like trying to fight food stamps, because like I'm pretty sure beverage industry makes a lot out of selling soda to people on food stamps.
Mm-hmm.
And the implication was not going through. Beverage industries have good lawyers.
Well, yeah, the beverage industry would lose a lot of money if that went through, so they're gonna definitely fight it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I thought about it, and I think a solution we could do is like you only get taxed on like luxury food, right? Like if you go out to food places, you get taxed because it's considered a luxury, but by law you're not allowed to be taxed for essential goods.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they should have like a thing where like if only it's an essential good, you can use food stamps on it, and then if you get taxed for soda, so like that shouldn't be allowed because it's a luxury good. And I think that's how they could do it, but
that would be one implication that you could like try pursuing. But then again, it's like a long shot.
Yeah.
Because most people wouldn't consider it a luxury good.
Yeah.
They kind of go like, well, anyone could buy this. It's not like it's relatively inexpensive anyway. So how would this be considered a luxury?
And especially now the availability of soda worldwide is so large that nobody would consider it luxury anymore.
Yeah.
Like maybe 10 years ago it was luxury, but now it's just common. It's just as common as water.
Yeah.
And to think of, I think water used to be more expensive than soda. I think in some
like
ways.
certain countries,
Yeah.
soda companies make their product cheaper than water. So people are inclined to drink that, and that's how they get fatter.
So if you weigh the consequences for that and saying that water would be a luxury now instead of soda, so people would tend to buy soda more.
Yeah. Like even in America, I feel like at grocery stores it's like 99 cents per water, like 106 for soda.
Yeah.
It's like not that much far off.
Yeah. So other than making soda more expensive, what other solutions do you think we could implement for childhood obesity? Any other ideas?
You could have a lot more outside school programs that are like ran through the school, so it's not like extra costs for families, like in low income areas, I guess. So you have more like, I guess like sports teams would be like if schools actually had them, like more intramurals through schools, that could also help, because then kids will actually they could go there if they wanted to, and they wouldn't have to pay for it. Like certain teams, I guess, like outside of school run organizations.
I feel like schools, like talking about the PE programs, like in India, in my school, we used to have mandatory like playtime. Basically, it's not like PE, but it's sort of like PE, and we could just choose whatever sport we want, and people just like tend to have fun instead of like actually going detail like into the sport too much.
Yeah.
But students, like children generally used to just play all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and thinking of the parents and like we didn't have availability to like we weren't allowed to have video games or cell phones in classes or anything. We basically weren't allowed technology inside school. It was all
Yeah, same.
it's either so and I think one of the reasons why India wasn't really one of the top countries in the obesity chart was because we didn't have the technology available earlier, like 10 years back, 15 years back.
Yeah.
But now, like India, according to, I think it's Discovery. Yeah, it's according to the Discovery site, India is third now in obese countries. So I think like because of the available technology, people have started buying.
There's a lot more available
Yeah,
technology
exactly.
there.
And if you compare the world's population, the world's like 7 billion, right? India and China alone have 2 billion each, 2.5 billion each, the sum.
Yeah.
And the world's population is 30%. 30% of the world's population is obese now. So,
Wow.
so if you compare the facts,
That's crazy. That's insane. So another thing that I wanted to talk about is actually the consequences of obesity in our country. 9.1 of all medical costs in the United States go to health concerns and issues related to obesity, and that's a huge toll that our country has to take just because of this issue. And yeah, a lot of like the health concerns that come with it are like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, and then there's also a lot of mental issues like psychosocial issues where a lot of kids will become insecure. I mean, there's very extreme cases where people become bullied and even suicidal, and then they need resource programs for them. So our country has to provide programs to help these kids through these issues, and a lot of our money goes to this. So that's a huge hit that our country takes.
Yeah, there was like a 60% increase for the risk of new diagnoses of asthma in children with obesity, and then like 7% of obese children have at least one cardiovascular problem with them, and like 40% show signs of it. And like there was a study that I read of like fourth to sixth graders in a Philadelphia school system that obese children are likely to be significantly more absent than average weight children. This also causes like their parents and guardians to miss work more, and it's costly to school systems. And then like the average weight children misses like 10 days of school a year, and then obese children miss like 12 to 13.
Wow.
Like this estimates to like $14 billion annually in direct health expenses for obese kids because of like the problems they start developing, like all the ones you said.
And the way that it works, right, is that if there's an unexcused absence, then the school gets less money from the government, or is that how it works? Yeah. So schools actually lose money if
Yeah, and
kids
this
don't
also
come to
that also like relates to them cutting programs.
Yeah.
Because it's like if people are absent all the time, like in those lower income areas, which have more obese populations of children, like they are missing school, I guess more so. They are losing a lot more money, which correlates to them having to cut programs.
Yeah.
And talking about school, there's like the trends in overweight children according to education level. So it shows that poorer people and people who are uneducated are more obese than who are more educated.
Yeah.
So uneducated people in France, 30% of uneducated people in men and 25% in women have grown obese. And then in Mexico, I think it's the most obese country in the world right now. In women, it's about 40%.
Wow.
In men, it's about 33%. And in US, it is 40. Low education is it's 37% in women, and in men it's in men it's 33%. Yeah, so that's uneducated people. So it's really high.
Wow. So I guess education and wealth, it's all related.
Yeah.
So the lower end of the spectrum citizens are gonna have more health issues,
Exactly.
which in turn costs the government more money to have to pay for a lot of their health issues.
So then, would we agree that it's kind of like poor food is fattening?
Yes.
Kind of a deal. My concern with that is that if we look at the other side of the world, you have like Japan, which has like the lowest rate of obesity in the world, and like, you know, they're not known for their like athletic programs and whatnot, and
It's all about the culture.
Yeah, their
That's
culture
a big
is completely
difference
different
because
their portions are so much smaller. Like
that started a while ago. They just eat their rice or whatever out of it.
yeah, and their
like a lot
culture
of their-
promotes them eating a lot healthier.
Yeah.
I guess their poor food isn't as fattening as our food.
Yeah, and we just already have this mindset that like we want to eat like 3 huge meals a day. Like we want to go to McDonald's, eat a lot of a lot of meat and stuff like that. And that's just like the issue of how we're being raised. Because if we're raised a totally different way, then we're not going to be like that. So that's why I'm going back and saying a lot of it's just we need to teach them at a young age just to be healthy. But yeah, you're right.
You also have to keep that going, like teaching them.
Yeah.
Because if you kind of stop, then
Oh yeah,
they'll end up losing that. But if you kept promoting it throughout, like until maybe I said senior year of high school, that would stick with you, and people will be more inclined to keep it going.
Yeah, something like which is drilled into their minds, and it becomes their habit. Like they don't even think of it, and they just buy healthy food. They just eat healthy. They just do healthy, right?
I think scare tactics would work a lot better with kids than it would with adults too.
Yeah, the
If
thing
you're
about
trying to
scare
go with that.
tactics is that around age maybe like 14 or 15 is when they like to get rebellious,
Yeah.
and then they would.
But you could also shift the program, like start with that, and then kind of go into like the benefits. Because you can't have the same program for like every year, because that will never work.
Yeah.
Like you have to always be changing it.
I like the scare tactics. I think so I was looking up some states and like where America skews towards in our obesity, and we have Mississippi and West Virginia tied as biggest offenders, where they have like I don't remember the percentage exactly, but they have like a vast majority, not a majority, they have like a lot of people that are obese, and like I saw their websites and it was just like red flashing pages of like we're obese, we need to like stop doing it, and I feel like scare tactics are a little bit implemented there, but it's not like implemented towards children, and like those in a young age. I don't know. People are kind of stubborn. There's no definite way to do it unless you really scare them.
The thing is, like a lot of if you go to West Virginia, you'll go around, you'll just see so many restaurants, so much fast food, and like pork places or whatever they eat.
Yeah,
a lot of stuff like that. And if you go up north where people are generally less obese, you'll see that there's a lot less of that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about values in your culture too, as well. Our country definitely has different cultures in different areas.
Oh yeah, like down south, like fried food is huge.
Yeah.
When I was in Texas, I went to a rodeo and they had like vendors just fried Oreos, fried cheesecake, fried everything, and just like selling turkey legs that are like this big. Just people walking around with them.
And actually, it's the South that's going to be the hardest to implement all these rules with, because they're going to be so already like just doing all that kind of stuff that it's going to be very hard to make them do a 180 and just be healthy. Because up north we have all these healthy incentives, but if you go down south, I guarantee they're not going to be like that. They're going to still be having lunches with a lot more fat in it.
Like one thing that could change with that though is how they prepare the food. Because like just preparing food differently can cut a lot of calories off of certain things. But people just like you were saying, the barbecue, like they just load it up with sodium and everything, and it tastes phenomenal. But you could make this pretty much the same thing, but just a lot healthier. But most people don't want to do that. because they're just how they've been brought up in like
The Southern
wanna change.
hospitality.
Southern hospitality.
Even changing the type of cooking oil you use could like cut down your fat to about
Oh, yeah.
at least
Yeah.
20%. I feel.
Oh yeah, and portion size too.
Yeah.
Just there's so many things that you can do
I mean,
to try to make it healthier.
Coming from a different country, for the first time I came to US, the portion size over here, I feel it's like triple.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
one ice cream, the large ice cream scoop in India is a small ice cream scoop in US. So yeah,
I believe it.
yeah, it's
Yeah, when I go out to get ice cream, I have to get a small because it's so big.
Yeah.
exactly.
like that.
So
Yeah,
it's,
we have this ideology that bigger is better.
Yeah.
In certain scenarios, it's not. It's a lot worse.
Mm-hmm. Very bad for your arteries.
And for us, like we have the creamery where they just like stack your cone
Mhm.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that's kind of weird with that though is like certain restaurants, like cheaper restaurants, the portions are huge, but if you go to a like expensive place, the portions are really small.
yeah.
So it's kind of like the opposite. So like
Yeah.
people promote the larger portions, I guess, in smaller places.
The thing is, can we regulate that? Like, can we tell the creamery, okay, make smaller portions? Because I know McDonald's, they tried to go healthy, and the only reason they did that is because they wanted to keep a lot of people coming there. So they just made healthier choices just to get more people to come out to McDonald's. 'Cause
Yeah,
they,
those aren't even that much healthier.
yeah, it's not even that much
necessarily.
healthier, but it's just a way to get people to come, just to go there. But creating regulations on portion size is going to be very difficult.
Well, you could try to regulate how many calories can be in certain things, because then that'll like the portions won't go down, but you drop the calories on it. Like it's definitely easier to do just because you might have to use healthier, I guess, parts of the food. So instead of like having like really fatty chicken, you switch to like a low fat chicken. Something
Mhm.
like simple like that, just getting
Yeah.
healthier products to put into your food.
I think a lot of like a very good idea would be doing like the Michelle Obama type thing where you go on TV, because she goes on Disney Channel and she talks to kids about being healthy and eating, working out, exercising, like eating healthy. A lot of it is that, just getting the public to know, like, hey, you have to eat healthy, and then restaurants will then be like, okay, well, the public's trying to eat healthier, then we'll try to make healthier food, and then it's just gonna be a snowball effect.
Another thing that would stick with kids if you put like their role models up, like you put
Oh, yeah.
professional athletes saying like,
Mhm.
I used to be an obese kid, but I changed my life around. Like
Oh yeah.
I knew that being healthier was a lot better, and people will be like, oh, I want to be like him. I'm gonna try to get healthy.
Yeah.
So you got to put a face to it, and like have a
That'd be
good
huge
spokesman.
for
'Cause
kids.
that kind of works with like the Michelle Obama thing.
Yeah.
Like if you see the first lady up there, kids are gonna be like,
With her kids and
Yeah,
all
like-
that.
I want to be that. So you
Yeah.
more inclined to become healthier.
Very true.
We like talked about a lot of different ways to approach it and like different things. So I kind of want to talk about like what would our criteria be? Like what would we deem as success? Like how far? What we need?
I mean, just dropping the overall percentage of children in the United States that are obese. So, I guess we'd have to set a certain
Even about
percent that we
like
want
2
to
to
get
5% would be a huge increase when you think about how many people are in the United States that are actually obese.
Mhm.
2 to 5% would be thousands of kids, and like
Oh,
you
yeah.
start the trend, more people will start going with it. It's just that
The snowball
initial
effect, of
push.
course. Yeah, so that would be the end goal that we're looking for. And I guess it'd be an ongoing end goal because we just want to keep reducing obesity. But for criteria, we'd want to look at solutions, like how we're going to go about doing this. So I guess we have, like we were talking about, like there's programs, there'd be the celebrities just being the face of this whole thing.
The government could release some policies which would be implemented in schools.
Yeah.
They don't even have to be like stringent policies, just something to get the ball rolling. Like kind of what they did with like school systems, like you have to have like certain calories, like calorie limits
Yeah.
for age appropriate meals. Just doing something like that, because then that'll make the food healthier.
And,
Yep.
and we could like give more money to like the American Health Association. So like food places can't get away with like changing their servings on their label, and then that meets the calorie criteria. because that's a thing.
Yeah, and also displaying calories like actually on the menu, right underneath, like visible enough where you actually have to see it, and not like when you're looking up at a fast food restaurant's menu, you can just barely see it. Like
So raising awareness in general, like for all aspects.
It's funny because it's almost paradoxical how other countries, they don't have any money going into, like, we probably spend the most money on incentivizing kids to be healthy and all of that, and yet we have such a large amount of our population being obese. So
I feel like
I don't know if pushing more money into that would help. It's just more just like choosing which areas to target and then having the culture change. Like that's what we really need.
I personally feel like America is just kind of unfortunate. Like we have the whole like Thanksgiving culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like
we
all our
love to
holiday
feast,
cultures
Easter,
are
Christmas.
eat as much as you
Oh, yeah.
possibly can.
And then pass out afterwards.
Yeah.
Treat yourself because you deserve it. But other countries aren't like that. Like they like to treat themselves by going out and drinking. But like for us, it's like, all right, stuff your face and just eat as much as you can.
Like stuff your face.
It's just culture differences.
Like you feel like growing up in America, I feel like I made it big if I'm like eating a lot of food, not like eating luxurious food.
Yeah.
And like we have like buffets here, where like other countries actually don't have buffets.
All you can eat.
Yeah.
And all that. And we just like to scarf our food down too. We don't take our time with it. We don't let ourselves digest.
I think, do we all agree on that kind of approach? That it would be the best kind of solution, like general raising awareness in all aspects.
I mean, it would definitely impact obesity a lot. Like compared to any other solutions, it would definitely be a large contributor.
Yeah, a specific solution. I know there's this app where you go into your classroom and you press it, and it's like, okay, I won't use my phone for this amount of time, and you put it down, and then you get points to go out and go get food and stuff like that. You could have a similar kind of like app for going outside and playing. You just like press it and like you don't use your phone for that amount of time. You're just outside playing, and then you get some sort of reward. Like
I'm sure definitely something like that.
The problem with that is the phone actually doesn't know. You can just hit that and kind of just
and play video games.
What you're doing.
Yeah.
And then you just rack up points.
It's very true. Maybe have one on your Xbox and computer. Link them all up at the same time. I don't know.
Have a class.
Well,
just
you
something
could give
along
to
that
parents.
concept. Yeah.
Like I saw this video on Facebook of like this salt grinder that actually, when you turned it, it shut off all electronics. And like they gave it to a bunch of moms and did that.
Oh.
So then like all the kids were just like, wait, what's going on? And they actually had to go outside. They actually started talking to their family more, like having good family time.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I don't know if you would really do this in like certain families, but just be like, I'm not doing this because then like you could have kids that just start flipping out during it.
Yeah, because they also have, if you go on the Xbox, you go to the settings, there's a timer. It's like, all right, 2 hours, and then it shuts off, and you have to type in a password if you want to play for any longer. You could just have parents actually utilize those things that Xbox offers, and then you can also do that to their phones, computers, parents just need to be more accountable for their children.
Yeah.
That's
like as we talk about this, I'm glad I'm not a child anymore.
Yeah, like
that sounds
when we were growing
horrible
up,
to
parents
me.
really didn't know what that was.
Yeah,
and
that's
again,
true.
like, my parents don't even know how to work like any gaming systems. They're just like, all right, I'm just gonna let it go. Like now, they kind of have a better idea about it, so they can actually use parental controls a lot easier, and they're easier to do now.
Yeah. Like there's definitely the culture gap there too.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when we're adults, like although I'm probably biased, like we wouldn't be as technology.
I do think that like
as our
obesity is
parents.
gonna drop though, because like older culture, they prided themselves on whoever could like had the most food was the wealthiest person.
Oh, yeah.
So like when I would go to like my grandma's house, she would just stuff your face, just keep feeding you food, and then if you like were full, she's like, oh, you don't like my cooking, and then just be like, oh, I guess I gotta eat more. Or like,
and then again, a fat tummy would imply you being healthy, right?
oh yeah,
Like they're just saying in India.
malnourished.
Yeah, exactly. So
You need to find a good middle ground though.
yeah,
You don't want to be
yeah,
too skinny, but you don't want to don't want to have health issues that go along with
Yeah.
obesity.
I think we can about wrap it up. It's 44 minutes.
All right. So how would we gauge the progress of our implementations that we'd be making? Would we have schools individually report if kids are going out more or going out and exercising more and losing weight and stuff like that? Or how would we know if our programs are working?
Well, personally, I feel like it's a long-term kind of thing because BMI is done by percentage for children, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
So I feel like in 20 years, if the general obesity has went down, then it's worked on the kids because we have 87% of kids that were obese still being obese when they're adults.
And that also helped with the parents as well, because in that 20 years, we're most likely going to have kids, and that we're going to have more idea of what and how we should raise them. So you're going to skew them away from certain places, and then obesity will end up dropping.
Yeah, it sounds ironic, but I feel like you could study adults to see that your child obesity program has worked.
Yeah.
Very true. Alrighty.
Alrighty then. We've come to an
Thank you for listening to our
Podcast.
podcast.
Stay classy, Ben.
Stay healthy.